Alright, Chucky, you ready to piss some people off with our review? Me too. You know what's funny about stuff like this is up until the internet, up until social media and horror groups and all that stuff, I never knew what anybody thought of movies. I didn't really give a shit, to be completely honest, but regardless, I never knew. Like, I didn't know what the general consensus was on any of these. None of them. And does it really matter? Like, when it really comes down to it, does it matter? No, doesn't matter. Like, if you like a movie, that should be good, right? Like, you had enjoyment. This isn't me defending myself at all. I don't give a shit. I've said that before. I just said it 5 seconds ago. But it's funny because I didn't even know until very recently that Seed of Chucky was as hated as it was. I am in killer flicks, talk about it all the time. And after Cult of Chucky came out, there was just tons of talk about the Child's Play franchise. And I don't know. I never really honestly thought about what people's feelings were on the later sequels, because I knew they all loved Child's Play 1 and 2. But it was actually, I came to find out through all of that talk that pretty much the general, consensus, as I said, was that they hated 3 and they despised 5. Now, I did get a little of that when I reviewed Cult of Chucky back when it came out. I did a spoiler-free discussion and a review on it, and I got blasted in the comments by a few people like, "I'm not even gonna watch your review because you said you liked Seed of Chucky." And I was like, "Oh, wow! I didn't even know this was disliked." I literally had no idea. It was funny up until, like, in the last 6 months, I didn't even know this was a disliked movie. I guess I just really don't give a shit what people think of movies outside of my own opinion. So, yeah, I know that a lot of people are going to be like, disagreeing with me hard on this, but I just rewatched it. Now, the story behind this is that I watched this all the way back on Friday, and then I took my notes with me to work because I was going to watch some Tales from the Crypt, and I did, but I left my notes at work, and until today, I didn't get them back because I had to drive in. I drove in specifically just to pick up these notes. Like, I live about 20 minutes from my work, so it's like a 40-minute drive. I had to go with my kids to the thing and grab them really quick so I could come back here and film this tonight. So this is Monday night. I've had it watched since Friday. I should have freaking reviewed it that night, but I got it done too late. Whatever. Anyway, so rewatching this movie on Friday, I was just sitting there because I hadn't seen it in a while, and everyone I was hating on it. Now, I'll get to that in a minute, actually. So I watched it, and while I was sitting there, I was like 45 minutes in, and I was just having a blast with it. It's just super funny and super ridiculous and over the top as all fucking hell. And it was that version of that I enjoy. There are versions of that I don't enjoy. And when I posted in Killer Flicks, I don't know, I was maybe like an hour in, and I was like, I don't know what y'all motherfuckers are talking about. This movie's hilarious. And, there were some people for sure, like a buddy of mine, Travis Gillespie, and a guy I know, Jean-Philippe, who fucking hates so many things. I couldn't believe he was like, yeah, man, I love it. And I was like, wow, really? You're the last person I would expect to like this. But yeah, a few other people too were just like, I love Seed of Chucky. I thought it's hilarious, this and that. And yeah, I enjoyed the shit out of it. I don't know. I made a comment in there, and I don't know how serious I am about this, but I am serious to an extent that I think with certain films, people just don't understand how to have a good time. Now, that doesn't mean that the jokes aren't working for them, then they're not going to like it. Like, I get that. But I think it's because the jokes are there. Although, that being said, I honestly can't figure out how someone could like Bride of Chucky and not like Seed of Chucky, because the way I see it is that the first three are a trilogy. Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky are like a little duology, and so far Curse and Cult are their own little thing. Yes, the storyline all goes together, but there's a very similar feel, and there's a gap between them of a few years where they're just like made quick in succession, and they feel more connected than the others. So 1 through 3, 4 and 5, 6 and 7 are their own little franchises in a way that connect to the bigger picture. And so I just personally don't understand why someone, like, or I should say how someone is into Bride but not Seed. The humor is almost identical. Yes, this one's much more meta, and I also find it ironic that a good amount of the people who hate on Seed of Chucky love the Scream franchise, when the Scream franchise is the reason Bride and Seed exist. Like, a lot of franchises went in that more comedic, meta style because of Scream, especially like the Scream sequels, like Scream 2 and 3, when they went and they made Stab and all that stuff. Like, Seed of Chucky having them in Hollywood making a movie where Jennifer Tilly plays herself, and Chucky and Tiffany, the dolls, are in the movies, and that they use those dolls for it, and they go off and Chucky kills Britney Spears and all that stuff. Like, that is very Scream-esque. So I blame your beloved fucking Scream franchise if you don't like these movies. And you might just dislike both, but you know me, I don't like the Scream franchise. So it is ironic that I ended up liking this. But this just has more fun in it to me than the Scream franchise does. This mostly because I just like the characters. Like, I love Chucky and I love Tiffany. And I think maybe the biggest problem people have with this movie, I'm going to just guess because I honestly haven't asked what people's problems with it is the Glenn or Glenda thing. Like, I think that's their issue maybe. Am I right on that? I don't know. I'm guessing that's it. But it totally worked for me. I especially loved the nod to Ed Wood. The Tim Burton Ed Wood, his biopic on the real director, is my favorite Tim Burton film. So love the nod to Ed Wood's very first film, Glenn or Glenda. But let's get into the movie anyways. I just thought I'd talk about it for a little while because I know how hated this movie is, and I just wanted to kind of point out little things here and there for fun. But if you don't like this, honestly, that's cool. And if you want to blast me and say I have horrible taste, that's fine too. I don't give a shit. I do have bad taste. I mean, really, when you think about it, I like Blair Witch 2 and fucking Bud the Chud and all these other fucking movies that everyone hates. So we get this opening sperm freaking going through fallopian tubes and whatever in like horrible CGI. It's a terrible opening because we already got to see the birth of Glenn or Glenda at the end of Bride of Chucky. So why do I need to see it going in there again? That, like, this is already have passed by that point. Then the whole first sequence is in POV, and they're trying to make it look like it's possibly Chucky, but then of course it ends up being Glenn or Glenda. And I really like that shot of where like he stabs the dad and the dad like falls off the railing. It comes like hits him with a knife and he falls all the way back. That must have been a pretty tricky shot to nail because it looked pretty cool. It looked all seamless in one shot. So I thought that was a really cool shot. And then we move on to the titties in the shower, which, you know, you throw those in there, you're always going to have my attention. And I love how and this is a whole dream sequence, so I can take it or leave it. I hate dream sequences, but it plays into the overall story because he's having murderous desires and these morbid dreams, and he doesn't know where the hell they're coming from. He doesn't realize that they're, you know, kind of, you know, inside of him because of his genetic makeup, that he was made by two psychopaths. But anyway, she's in the shower and he's coming after her, and the way she ends up dying is she slips and falls and hits her head. So, you know, you usually see the killers in these, but you know, going back to like Child's Play 3 when he jumps out at Colonel Cochran, and Colonel fucking Cochran has a heart attack. You gotta be fucking kidding me. It's another one of these moments where it's like, he's going to attack them, and they kill themselves. I always found that funny. It kind of reminds me, if you haven't seen this movie called I Didn't Come Here to Die, I think that's the name of the movie. Super generic ass cover. No one ever talks about it. I own it somewhere. I didn't come here to die. I'm pretty sure it has that girl on the front that's like reaching out or whatever. It's like the generic cover art that's on like 15 different covers in the last like 5 years. Like Absentia has it, and a bunch of other ones have it. I wish I had it here. I wish I could show you the two covers, but if you guys know what I'm talking about, that girl that's on the front of the covers and she's like screaming, and they like change like the facial features so that it looks like something different. But anyways, it kind of reminds me of that movie. If you haven't seen that movie, I don't want to give away the premise, but if you have seen that movie, you'll know what the hell I'm talking about. Also kind of like Tucker and Dale versus Evil as well. Has something similar going on. Anyway. So yeah, they're making, he wakes up and he's like this puppet in a trashy circus sideshow freaking thing looking, and his name's like Shitface or Shithead or something, like Shitface or something. And it's been 6 years since The Bride of Chucky, and he realizes that he is Japanese because he has Made in Japan on his wrist, which why the dolls that were made by Hollywood for the film would have Made on Japan, and that would be like his parents there, makes zero sense. And he also has the, Heart of Dumbala, the little necklace, not talisman, but amulet. There you go. How he has that, I don't know. I mean, I guess he must have survived. Tiffany dies giving birth to him, I'm going to assume. And then he is a little spawnling and gets off and runs away. The detective at the end of Bride can't catch him. I don't know. And he takes the amulet with him, I suppose. And then he gets passed around, or this guy finds him weirdly and starts this sideshow act with him. And he just continues to keep that amulet on him at all times, lets him have it. I don't know. So, but he has it. And I love that, yeah, Jennifer Tilly plays herself in here. And then, that was a good way to have Tiffany get her body back, because Tiffany died. I mean, her real body is gone, but, she looks obviously just like Jennifer Tilly, because she is. And she wants to take over her body, which I just thought was really like a really funny meta idea, to have Jennifer Tilly play Tiffany in the Chucky movie, and that Tiffany wants to take possession of the actress who plays her in the other face. It's just a really fun little twisty meta moment. I really enjoyed it. Redman is making a Virgin Mary film, which is ridiculous. And Jennifer Tilly is giving Julia Roberts, because Julia Roberts gets her name dropped a lot here, and gets made fun of for sleeping with the directors to get her pictures. But of course her plan is to finally give into that shit and sleep with Redman so that she can get herself a spot as the Virgin Mary. She's going to screw somebody to be playing a virgin, which they make fun of in this movie, and I thought that was pretty funny as well. And then he brings them back with the Heart of Dumbala by just reading the thing on the back of it, and it brings both of them into the dolls that they were never in. Like, those are just prop dolls that they made for the movie, but whatever. It's convenient to the plot, so why not? He just has to read like 3 words or something. It's so simple. I'm pretty sure those weren't on the back of the damn amulet in the last one, but I don't know if we saw the back of it. But I know that Charles Lee Ray was not wearing it in the first movie. I can tell you that shit, so that little retcon is BS, but you gotta push the franchise, so why not? But I like that when Tiffany and Chucky come out, they strangle a guy together and pull together, and the guy's head pops off. Special effects in this movie are awesome, like some great gore. The doll work, like the animatronics and all the facial features, and Tiffany and Chucky and Glenn or Glenda, like all that stuff looks fucking incredible. So, hate on the movie and its jokes and all that all you want, but you I don't know. Maybe you will deny that, but I think they look insanely, like, fucking fantastic. Anyway, but yeah, they pull this guy's head off, goes flying up in the air, and then blood's like squirting all over the place, and they're just looking at each other like covered in blood, and they just like run at each other and start making out, and they're just like super in love, and the kid's just sitting there. He's being introduced to his parents for the first time, and he sees them bonding over murder, and he's like, they're stark raving mad. And he has like this little fucking eye twitch, like he's like, like, you know, because he's trying to repress that, you know, what he has inside, and he tries to the entire film until eventually he ends up snapping. But Tiffany has this moment where she's like, we have a problem, we have a son now. I love it, because this movie is like, this is where the next film should have went with Bride of Chucky. Like, it's Bride of Chucky, where's the next logical step? Like, if you go into the old monster movies, like Bride of Frankenstein, then it was Son of Frankenstein. You know, like, you're going to have the marriage, then you're going to have the family. I mean, that's kind of the progression of life, right? So if they did go in that route, and you did like Bride of Chucky, I don't see how you didn't see this was the next logical step. That doesn't mean you have to like it by any means, but to say that this was like insanely out there and like so out of left field and this and that, it's like, did you not watch Bride? Like, if you're against Bride, totally understand, but Bride into this makes perfect sense to me. So yeah, this is about the family life of Chucky and Tiffany trying to raise a child together, and the hilarity that kind of ensues. Morbid, dark hilarity, but hilarity nonetheless. Like, she tries to go through like a 12-step program to stop murdering, and she makes Chucky fucking make a promise, and he's trying to be like the good dad, but and the good husband, but of course he can't stick to it, she can't stick to it, and this kid is just kind of in the middle, like, I don't know where I came from, I don't know who I am. You know, they pull down his pants, they see that he doesn't have any genitals, and they're fighting over his sex. She's like, I want him to be a boy, and I want him to be a girl, and he's so torn apart, and he even has the Rebel Without a Cause, or The Room later on, but this movie came out before that one, and he's like, you're tearing me apart, Lisa. It's funny, because you know, sad in a way, too. The film is never played to those emotional heartstrings or anything, but if you kind of take it in the context of the movie, it is very sad, like his little arc that he has. Poor little kid, he has no idea what the hell he is. He's this abomination. He's a fucking living doll that doesn't know who he is, and he's been raised by this shithead and used for, like, you know, a comedic gag, while being treated like dog shit. And then when he finally meets his parents, which he's been trying to do his whole damn life, they end up being psychopaths who are fighting over what his identity is without even asking him. So as I said, it's a very sad and kind of tragic thing. It's just done in a very comedic way, so you kind of ignore that stuff. Love that John Waters is in this. Oh my god, John Waters, fucking Serial Mom, Pecker, Crybaby. John Waters is the shit. Frickin' Cecil B. Demented. You want to talk about a kick-ass movie? I was so in love with Maggie Gyllenhaal in that movie back in the day when she played that Raven character. I never even knew that was Maggie Gyllenhaal later on. And then when I saw it was her and I went back and rewatched it, I was like, oh my god, that's Maggie Gyllenhaal? Like, I didn't no clue. She was so hot in that movie. She's a pretty girl. I'm not saying she isn't. She was unbelievably hot in that film. She was kind of an obsession of mine for like a month or two. But yeah, if you haven't seen that one, Cecil B. Demented with Melanie Griffith and Stephen Dorff and Maggie Gyllenhaal, as I already said, and awesome movie. But I love John Waters. There's tons of John Waters movies that I adore. But seeing him in here and watching his death when Chucky and Glenn, because when he's with Chucky, he's Glenn. When he's with Tiffany, he's Glenda. But yeah, he's taking him out, and it's like, he's gonna bond with him, and you know how dads take out kids and they play ball with them, or they take them bowling or whatever, or they take them hunting. Well, he took him hunting. He took him hunting for Britney Spears. Oops, I Did It Again. That line's pretty silly, but very pop culture reference of the time. I think it would have been much better suited for the moment that it came out. Of course, I get it because I'm older, but I think that there's a lot of people now who would watch that, and that's a joke that just wouldn't age well. Because unless you knew the reference and who the hell Britney Spears was and what her first big hit was, you would just be like, huh? And I couldn't tell if that was her or not. I don't think it was, but it sure as shit looked a lot like her. But I'm probably going to guess it wasn't, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was either. But yeah, they're trying to have this bonding moment. Of course, Chucky's way of bonding is to go out and murder with his son. So he goes out and he finds this reporter who was watching Chucky jerk off. To watch Chucky jerk off, and I love that Chucky's going through magazines and he's like, hey Tiff, can I get some help? And she pulls down and she shows her, we even get some fucking doll titties in here. And he goes and he's looking through, I don't know why Jennifer Tilly has like freaking porno mags of chicks in her house, whatever, no judgment here. But he finds a copy of Fangoria after going through all these. He's like, yeah, all right, man. And then boom, like he sees a zombie chick on Fangoria and he's like, all right, I'm gonna jerk it off. I'm gonna jerk off to dead bodies. That was pretty funny shit. But they go to confront John Waters and, you know, he thinks the kid doesn't have it in him. The kid accidentally kills him with sulfuric acid. And the kid's, you're a fucking natural. And they take he takes a picture with the man's dying body. He's not even like fully dead yet. And he's like, smile for the camera. It's like the first trophy killer, the first, you know, goal he scored or whatever. Like it's that moment for them, but it's with a dead body. I found that to be pretty damn hilarious. And Jesus. Oh man, one of the most fucked up parts of this movie, if you really like think about it, and that scene, it's played for gags and it is funny, but it's so messed up, is when Tiffany's going through her, you know, 12-step program and she finds that part where it's like you need to call up everyone that you hurt and apologize, and she calls up this widow and is like, I murdered your husband, but I'm in recovery now and this and that. And she's like, okay, have a good day. And the woman's on the other side like, you son of, who is this? Is this a joke? Is it? Oh man, that's just evil as shit. And she's just like all like, oh my God, I feel so much better. So good. So fucking funny. And I love that when Chucky decides to divulge that he has been killing, because Tiffany, we find that Redmond's there and he's like, well, you know, like, look who's full of shit. Look who's the hypocrite. He goes and he just pulls open a door and like 3 random bodies, not that we saw killed in the film, just off screen somewhere, he killed 3 random people. How he got them into Tiffany's house, into that closet, why they would even be in the vicinity, it's fucking funny to me, because he went out and killed people and then dragged them back there one by one, wasn't seen as a killer doll walking down the fucking street in a really like nice neighborhood, not leaving any blood anywhere, and then being able to prop up 3 bodies all at once in a closet. Like, I mean, of course, this is a silly ass movie, so I'm not going to think about it logistically, even though I just did. But I just had to laugh out loud when those fell out of there. Like, really? Okay, I suppose. And then that just pretty much, that's it. Like, that sends Glenn or Glenda over the edge, and we have the Norman Bates psycho moment where he's in drag. He comes out, it makes it look like Tiffany, and when he turns around, he's attacking them. And, you know, Chucky has that moment. I love this moment where Chucky's like, you know what? I like being Chucky, and that's just it. This is a big moment for this franchise, for me, because this is the moment where Chucky decides, I'm fine with being a doll. In fact, I dig it, as he says. Like, I'm Chucky, the killer doll. Like, he's in it. He's finally, like, accepted what he is and who he is. He's not doing it anymore. He wants to be Chucky. And of course, Tiffany's like, I don't know who the fuck you are. I don't know what the fuck you're thinking. Like, I am not staying in this damn doll body. Like, she's only been Tiffany for a very short amount of time. You have to remember that in the first, like, Bride of Chucky, it was only like a couple days, and then they died, and then 6 years later they came back, and this has only been another couple days. So Tiffany overall, I mean, cumulatively now, has only been Tiffany for maybe like a week. But Chucky, oh my God, dude, he's like throughout 5 movies now, he's been in that doll. Not a shitload longer, because in 1, 2, 3, 4, I want to say he's only in the body like a week at best in each. But that's longer than Tiffany. But he's just finally taking it on. Like, he sees the pop culture. He sees that he's in films. He sees that, you know, he's an iconic doll, that his name is now his name is more synonymous with the doll than it was with his you know, physical body when he was Charles Lee Ray. So I just like that moment now, because that gets him away from that desire to transfer his soul. He's more just out for killing now. Like, he's a killer, he likes killing, that's what he wants to do, that's what he would have done even if he got a new body, and he just accepts his role now as the killer doll. And she's like, oh, hell no. And Glenda loses his mind. Glenda, it doesn't matter. Gets in drag, goes and kills, and ends up killing freaking Chucky. Cuts his arms and his legs off, and Chucky's coming after them before that, and he bursts through the door, and he has this shining moment. He's looking through, and he's like, I can't think of a thing to say. That's pretty silly, but it was still fun. And then, yeah, so Glenda, whatever, fucking kung fu fights him and like flips over him. That scene looks pretty stupid, but it's still pretty funny because he chops his arms and his legs off. And Tiffany does get to transfer over her body to Jennifer Tilly, and we get to find out that we don't know. Like, it's kind of left open a little bit for interpretation here. Like, I don't know if because he had split personalities, he was transferred into like a Glenn, who's the nice one, and then the Glenda, who's the mean one. So like his two personalities split, and he has the twins because she has twins. Jennifer Tilly gives birth to the twins, so that she puts them. I don't know if that is, or if Glenn or Glenda is only in the little girl, or if he's only in the little boy. What happened to them, I don't remember. I'm really looking forward to watching Curse of Chucky tonight, because I've only seen it once, and it was when it came out, so I'm really, really looking forward to that movie. And yeah, I'm really, really curious on where this franchise heads from here. I might honestly rewatch Cult again as well, because now I gotta see like how these all string together now that I've watched them so close together, which I've never done. I've never watched them all back to back to back like this. So yeah, there you go, guys. Hate on me. I don't care. I think this movie is a ton of fucking fun, and maybe you should lighten up a little bit and check it out. All right. I'm going to go watch Curse.